From our Chicago studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Samana Siddiqui. Our top story tonight. Amnesty International has released a 300-page report confirming that Israel is committing genocide in Palestine. The human rights watchdog is calling on those with influence over Israel, such as the U.S. and Germany, to take action to bring the violence to an end. The report's release on Wednesday comes amid increased global scrutiny of Israel's war on Gaza since October 2023. 2 weeks ago, the International Criminal Court announced arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes and crimes against humanity in Gaza. Amnesty joins a growing chorus of legal scholars and activists describing Israel's assault on Palestinians as genocide. Justice for All, a Chicago-based human rights organization, issued a 100-page report in March, also concluding that Israel is committing genocide.
We looked at everything that needed to be considered, and at the end, the only reasonable conclusion that could be drawn is that Israel intended and intend to commit genocide. It may do so alongside its military objective. It may do so in addition to obliterate or get rid of Hamas. There is absolutely no doubt.
The International Federation of Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, or IFRC, has expressed dismay at the killing of a Palestine Red Crescent Society, or PRCS, paramedic in Gaza. Ala al-Diarawi, a member of PRCS's emergency medical team, was fatally shot in the Khan Yunis area of Gaza shortly after transporting patients for treatment. The IFRC underlined that hospitals, ambulances, healthcare workers, and their patients must be respected and protected. It noted this latest tragedy on the eve of International Volunteer Day is a moment to come together globally to call for the protection of all volunteers. Al-Diarawi's death brings the total number of IFRC network members killed worldwide this year to 32.
2024 was the deadliest year in the humanitarian sector in terms of losses, and of course the scale of crisis is increasing, and we have observed really multiple crises, protracted crises, new conflicts, ongoing conflicts, and climate crisis. And our volunteers work in all those circumstances at the level of their communities, and sadly 31 of them lost their lives by doing that.
A 45-year-old Palestinian man died on Wednesday in an Israeli interrogation center. Rights groups allege that torture led to Mohammed Walid Hussein Ali's death. The resident of Nur Shams refugee camp in Tulkarm spent nearly 20 years in Israeli prisons before being re-arrested a week ago and sent to Jalama Interrogation Center. Transferred to Rambam Hospital, the circumstances surrounding Ali's death remain unclear. He reportedly had no chronic health issues, and he and his wife were expecting their second child. Rights groups say he was likely tortured. Ali's death raises the number of Palestinians who have died in Israeli custody to 48 since the start of Israel's genocide in Gaza on October 7, 2023. Rights organizations warn of worsening conditions in Israeli prisons, particularly for sick and elderly detainees. With more than 10,000 Palestinians detained, including hundreds from Gaza, concerns about the fate of detainees persist amid rising tensions in the region. Israeli airstrikes have killed 48 Palestinians and injured 201 others in the past 24 hours in Gaza. According to the Palestinian Health Ministry, strikes on so-called safe zones in Gaza's Al-Mawasi area have caused widespread devastation. One attack hit a home behind a besieged health facility, killing 7 people. In Khirbat al-Adas, 2 more Palestinians were killed, and in the Nusayrat refugee camp, the Civil Defense Service recovered 3 bodies after a home was struck. Amid the ongoing crisis, Egypt has proposed a 45 to 60-day ceasefire, opening Gaza's Rafah crossing and increasing aid deliveries to 350 trucks daily. The plan includes an exchange of Palestinian prisoners for Israeli prisoners, but no formal agreement has been announced. Israeli forces have launched new raids on southern Lebanon, violating a ceasefire with Hezbollah. Lebanon has reported more than 120 Israeli violations of the ceasefire since the deal came into force on November 27th. Israel's genocide in Gaza has killed at least 44,580 Palestinians and wounded 105,739 since October 7th, 2023. Last month, the International Criminal Court issued arrest warrants for Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant for war crimes. Israel also faces a genocide case at the International Court of Justice for its genocide in Gaza. More than 1,000 scientists signed an open letter calling for a Gaza ceasefire. Details after the break, so stay tuned, and we'll be right back. Welcome back. More than 1,000 scientists worldwide have signed an open letter calling for a ceasefire in Gaza. The group of mainly psychologists and neuroscientists have asked the global community to pressure Israel to respect international humanitarian law. According to Spanish news agency EFE, signatories include Nobel laureates May-Britt Moser and Edvard Moser from Norway and Susumu Tonegawa from Japan. The letter warns that without international pressure, extremists in power feel emboldened to carry out lethal intentions, perpetuating hatred and violence. The scientists say the region is trapped in a destructive cycle of violence and vengeance that undermines the possibility of peaceful coexistence. Israel's current policies, they argue, have inflicted irreparable harm on Palestinians and jeopardized the safety of its own people. The letter was started by researchers at the Sorbonne University in France and Princeton University in the U.S. President-elect Donald Trump's team has agreed to FBI background checks for senior appointees. This decision comes after reports surfaced of unvetted Trump nominees with histories of misconduct, prompting doubts about their suitability for office. That includes Pete Hegseth, who was nominated for Defense Secretary. A recent New Yorker investigation found that Hegseth has been accused of sexual assault, public drunkenness, as well as Islamophobia, while previously heading a veterans organization. Despite background checks being standard procedure, Trump initially delayed these FBI vettings of nominees, exploring alternatives. The president-elect is also facing backlash for potentially bypassing Senate confirmation norms. The new agreement does not clarify if all nominees will undergo FBI scrutiny, raising concerns about selective compliance. Democrats have secured the last unresolved House of Representatives race, cutting the Republican majority to 220 to 215. Adam Gray defeated Republican John Duarte in California's 13th congressional district with 187 votes. Observers say this victory, finalized after weeks of vote counting, highlights the challenges Republicans will face in maintaining control. Further complicating GOP efforts, 3 Republican members are set to vacate their seats due to roles in the Trump administration or personal scandals. Their departures will shrink the Republican majority further, leaving the party vulnerable to a single defection derailing key legislation. Republicans currently hold a slim Senate majority and the White House. However, past rebellions within the party, such as ousting Speaker Kevin McCarthy, signal potential challenges. Meanwhile, Democrats hope to capitalize on these fractures as the new Congress is seated in January. A large group of migrants is making its way toward the United States, traveling in a caravan through the southern Mexican town of Escuintla. On Wednesday, numerous migrants were seen walking along highways, carrying their belongings as they advanced toward the U.S. border.
Si los toca deportar, no lo deporta. ¿Qué más se va a hacer? Me desanima al saber que no nos quiere allá y me anima a entrar más rápido. Pero pues a mí me anima a seguir mi camino y llegar más rápido a Estados Unidos.
U.S. officials are warning that Chinese hackers linked to a widespread telecommunications breach may remain entrenched for years, complicating efforts to expel them. The Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, or CISA, along with the FBI, have urged telecom companies to bolster defenses. The depth of the breaches remains unknown. The hackers are connected to the group Salt Typhoon. They have allegedly targeted the communications of U.S. presidential campaigns and high-profile officials. Breach revelations surfaced in October, exposing attempts to intercept communications for the campaigns of President-elect Donald Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris. CISA and the FBI described the breach as part of a broader espionage effort affecting telecom firms globally. U.S. officials claim hackers accessed personal communications, customer call records, and law enforcement data. Despite China's denials, observers say the breach highlights a prolonged and sophisticated cyber espionage campaign. Bangladesh's Assistant High Commission in India's northeastern city of Agartala has suspended all visa and consular services indefinitely. The decision was taken after extremist Hindu protesters attacked the mission, vandalizing property and burning the Bangladeshi national flag. Acting Foreign Secretary Riaz Hamidullah stressed Bangladesh's commitment to constructive relations with India. Bangladesh has condemned the attack as pre-planned amid rising tensions since Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina fled to India on August 5th. A transitional government led by Muhammad Yunus took office shortly thereafter. Right-wing Indian groups have alleged rising violence against Hindus in Bangladesh, claims that the Bangladesh government rejects as propaganda. The Indian Foreign Ministry termed the Agartala attack deeply regrettable and assured diplomatic mission safety. Tripura police arrested 7 suspects and launched an investigation against police officials over the incident. That's all from our Chicago studios tonight. Thank you for watching Muslim News. We are a community channel dedicated to bringing you stories you can trust. Please like, share, and subscribe to our content. You can also comment to let us know what you think of our coverage. You can donate now by visiting muslimnetwork.tv/donate. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV. Salam.